No one but you decides your worth. Every day you wake up surrounded by invisible judges. They live in screens, in conversations, in the echo of your own doubts. They speak through numbers, likes, views, approval, and somewhere along the way, you started believing that their opinions define your value. But what if I told you that this belief is the root of your suffering? What if you've been handing over your peace to strangers who don't even know who you are? You see, the world has mastered the art of distraction. It tells you that worth is something to be earned, displayed, compared. Yet the truth, ancient, unchanging, and often ignored, is that no one but you decides your worth. Not your failures, not your past, not even your victories. You alone hold the scale that measures your own soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your mind is filled with doubt and judgment, you'll see yourself through the lens of others. But if you train your thoughts to stand firm in reason, you'll realize something powerful. No external force can touch your value. Because value is not a negotiation, it is recognition. When you stop chasing validation, you become untouchable. When you detach your worth from opinions, you become free. And that freedom is the foundation of peace. The kind of peace no applause can give and no criticism can take away. So ask yourself now, how much of your life has been lived trying to please those who never understood you? How many choices were made just to feel accepted rather than fulfilled? The Stoics teach us that life is short, but the time we waste trying to be someone else makes it even shorter. This is your moment to remember who decides your worth. You. Not society, not your fears, not your failures, just you, standing in silence, aware, sovereign over your mind. And once you understand that, no one, not a single voice in this world, can diminish what was always yours. There is a quiet tyranny that rules modern life, and it's built on perception. You don't see its soldiers marching, yet they invade your thoughts every time you wonder what others might think of you. This is the tyranny of opinions, the invisible empire that enslaves the mind of those who seek approval. People spend their lives performing for an audience that doesn't exist. They shape their words, their image, even their dreams to fit expectations that change by the hour. The world demands that you prove your worth through constant validation. But the truth is cruel. Those who crave approval will never be free, because every compliment becomes a chain and every criticism a sword. Marcus Aurelius warned of this when he said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." It's a paradox, one that drains the strength of the soul. The Stoic understands that no opinion, no rumor, no judgment has any real power unless you grant it entrance to your mind. Think of it. When someone insults you, nothing enters your body, nothing pierces your skin. The pain exists only because you interpret it as an injury. You gave meaning to their words, and that meaning turned into suffering. The Stoic doesn't deny emotion. He masters it. He looks at opinions the same way he looks at the wind. They pass, they change direction, and they carry no weight unless you decide to follow them. The world will continue to judge. It always has. But what matters is not their voice, it's your response. Every time you remain calm when others try to provoke you, you are reclaiming your freedom. Every time you choose reason over reaction, you are dismantling the tyranny that rules most people's lives. You can't control what others think, but you can control whether their thoughts have any place in your kingdom. And once you understand that your mind is your empire, opinions lose their power to command you. Modern society runs on a currency more addictive than wealth: validation. Every post, every achievement, every public moment becomes a silent transaction where you trade authenticity for approval. People chase likes, titles, and recognition as if they were proof of existence, forgetting that these are illusions built by the collective insecurity of the crowd. validation is subtle because it disguises itself as motivation. You tell yourself that you're working hard for success, for excellence, but beneath it often lies a hidden hunger to be seen, to be affirmed, to be told you are enough. The Stoic sees through this mirage. He knows that the more you depend on others to confirm your worth, the further you drift from inner peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions." Indeed, when your happiness depends on applause, you become a slave to the noise. But when your worth depends on your virtue, your integrity, your reason, your effort, you become unshakable. Validation is not evil, it's empty. It's a promise that never fulfills itself, because no matter how much you receive, it fades as quickly as it came. The algorithm forgets. The crowd moves on. The people who praise you today will find someone new to admire tomorrow. And if your sense of self was built upon their attention, then your foundation will collapse the moment they look away. The Stoic's answer is not isolation, but independence. He participates in the world without being consumed by it. He seeks excellence, not approval. He creates not for applause, but for truth. And in that detachment lies the purest form of freedom, a freedom born not from rebellion, but from self-mastery. Ask yourself, if every form of recognition vanished tomorrow, would you still live with the same passion, the same integrity, the same discipline? If the answer is yes, you have already broken free from the invisible currency of validation. Comparison is a silent thief. It doesn't arrive with noise or warning. It grows slowly, feeding on your focus until your eyes no longer see your own path. You look at others and measure your progress by their pace, forgetting that each life is written by a different hand. That's how the prison is built, not with walls, but with glances. The Stoics called this blindness of desire. When you envy what another possesses, you are blinded to what already belongs to you. You forget that peace is not found in having more, but in wanting less. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Yet, the mind trained by modern culture refuses to believe it. It compares, it competes, it feels smaller every time it scrolls past someone else's illusion of perfection. You see a stranger's success and mistake it for proof of your failure. But what you're really witnessing is a fragment, a highlight, not a life. The Stoic learns to see through the illusion, to remind himself that what is displayed is not what is lived. True fulfillment cannot be captured in images, numbers, or possessions. It lives in the quiet dignity of doing what is right, even when no one sees it. Comparison transforms joy into anxiety. It replaces gratitude with greed. It keeps your eyes fixed on what you lack, not on who you are becoming. The wise man escapes this prison by shifting his focus inward. He doesn't ask, "Am I better than them?" He asks, "Am I better than who I was yesterday?" That is the only comparison that leads to growth. So stop chasing someone else's reflection. Your worth is not a race, and your journey cannot be measured by another's path. Once you realize that, the walls of that invisible prison begin to crumble, and you return to freedom. The freedom to live at your own pace, under your own standard, guided by your own reason. There comes a moment when every person must choose to remain a subject of the world's opinions or to rise as the ruler of their own mind. This is the awakening of the inner emperor, the moment you reclaim sovereignty over yourself. The Stoics believed that true power was not in commanding armies or ruling nations, but in governing the kingdom within. Marcus Aurelius himself, surrounded by chaos and war, wrote not about conquest, but about control of thought. He knew that every human being carries an empire inside, the empire of reason, choice, and judgment. When you let anger dictate your reactions, you surrender the throne. When you let fear silence your voice, you abdicate your crown. When you let the crowd decide your worth, you become a servant to their noise. The Stoic path is the rebellion against this dependence. It teaches that the greatest authority one can possess is over one's own perception. The emperor within doesn't rule through pride, but through clarity. He listens to the world, but he answers only to virtue. He acts with conviction, not to impress, but to remain aligned with what is right. And in doing so, he becomes untouchable, because no external event can dethrone a mind governed by wisdom. Ask yourself, who sits on the throne of your thoughts right now? Is it reason or emotion, courage or fear? The answer will reveal whether you are a sovereign or a subject. Reclaiming your mind requires discipline. It means observing your impulses before they command you. It means detaching from praise and blame alike. It means reminding yourself daily, this is my empire, my peace, my actions, my thoughts, mine to rule, mine to defend. Once you begin to live this way, the world no longer shakes you. You move through chaos with the calm of an emperor who knows that the only true kingdom worth ruling is the one within. Self-worth is not discovered. It is built. It is not something given to you by others, but something forged through your thoughts, choices, and daily discipline. The Stoics understood this long before psychology gave it a name. They taught that the value of a man lies not in what he possesses, but in what he practices. Yet most people measure themselves by standards that were never theirs to begin with. They wear borrowed definitions of success and then wonder why peace feels so distant. To reprogram your sense of worth, you must first strip away the illusions that shaped it. Every opinion that made you feel less. Every comparison that made you doubt yourself. Every expectation that chained your joy to outcomes you cannot control. You must erase these distortions, not with anger, but with awareness. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it. Indeed, the same truth applies to self-worth. Your pain exists not because you are inadequate, but because you believed a lie about your own value. Reprogramming begins in silence. In that quiet space between your thoughts, you confront the narratives you've inherited from others and decide which ones deserve to stay. Each time you act according to reason rather than impulse, you rewrite the story of your worth. Each time you choose discipline over doubt, you reaffirm that your value is grounded in character, not circumstance. The Stoic does not repeat affirmations to feel better, he proves them through action. He knows that confidence is not a mood, but a consequence. When your actions align with your principles, your mind has no reason to question your value. You stop needing reassurance because your behavior becomes the evidence of your strength. So start small. Honor your word. Keep your promises. Practice virtue not to impress, but to become. Over time, these choices accumulate like stones in a fortress. That fortress is your self-worth, unshaken, unbought, and beyond the reach of anyone's opinion. Silence is not weakness, it is command. The wise man does not rush to defend his worth because he knows that truth requires no argument. The Stoic understands that every judgment from others is merely an echo of their own perception, not a reflection of his essence. To detach from judgment is to stand still while the world trembles with noise. In a culture obsessed with opinion, silence has become rebellion. People believe that every attack deserves a response, every misunderstanding a correction. But when you engage with every judgment, you hand over your tranquility to those who haven't earned it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. Detachment, then, is not indifference, it is mastery. There is great power in restraint. The moment you stop explaining yourself to those who do not seek truth, you reclaim energy that once kept you bound. The wise speak less because they understand that words cannot change minds clouded by bias. Instead, they act, they endure, and they remain at peace while others chase noise. Detaching from judgment is not about arrogance, it's about clarity. You realize that the opinions of others say more about their understanding than your value. You become like a mountain, unmoved by the winds of approval or criticism. And in that stillness, you find strength that the world cannot comprehend. This silence does not come from avoidance, but from awareness. You have nothing to prove to those who measure life through comparison and ego. You act according to virtue, guided by reason, and let the results speak in time. The Stoic knows that the only validation worth seeking is the quiet approval of one's own conscience. So the next time judgment approaches you, greet it as Marcus would, with calm observation, not reaction. Let it pass through you like wind through the trees. Because the one who remains silent when provoked has already won the battle within. There is a place within you that the world cannot touch, a silent center, deeper than praise, stronger than pain. This is your unshakable core, the essence of who you are when every illusion is stripped away. Most people never find it because they spend their lives chasing what can be taken from them. The Stoic walks a different path. He seeks not the fleeting comfort of validation, but the eternal calm that comes from self-command. Inner peace is not born from the absence of problems, but from the presence of strength. It is the discipline of remaining still when everything around you demands reaction. Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by chaos, betrayal, and war, yet his writings carry the tone of a man who refused to be disturbed. He understood that peace is not given, it is practiced. It is earned through the daily choice to govern one's own mind. When you stop letting circumstances dictate your emotions, you reclaim your sovereignty. You realize that no loss, no failure, no rejection can touch the foundation of your worth. The Stoic learns to say, "This may wound my pride, but it cannot touch my essence." And in that realization, peace begins. The unshakable core is built through repetition. Every time you choose calm over anger, patience over frustration, discipline over comfort, you strengthen it. It's not a single moment of enlightenment, but a lifetime of decisions that align you with reason. The storms of life will still come, but they will no longer move you. You will observe them, endure them, and remain intact. In the end, the goal is not to escape the world, but to exist within it untamed, to be surrounded by noise yet anchored in silence, to lose everything external and remain whole. This is the highest form of freedom, the ultimate proof of worth, the peace that no one can grant and no one can take. Remember, the Stoic does not seek to control life. He seeks to control his response to it. And in that mastery lies his invincibility. Because when you discover that unshakable core within yourself, you finally understand the truth. No one but you decides your worth. Your worth was never something to be found. It was something to be remembered. From the moment you began to care about the opinions of others, you handed away the keys to your own peace. But now you know you are not what others think of you, not what you have, not what you've lost. You are the measure of your thoughts, the strength of your choices, the calm behind your storms. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he wrote to remind himself that the only true kingdom worth mastering was his own mind. That same empire exists within you. Every decision, every reaction, every breath is an act of governance. When you let reason rule over emotion, when you let virtue guide your path, you sit upon your rightful throne once again. The world will continue to shout. It will tempt you with comparison, challenge you with failure, and test you with rejection. But none of these can touch the truth you now carry, that your value does not rise or fall with circumstance. You are not a product of applause or criticism. You are the observer, the thinker, the being who decides what has meaning and what does not. So walk through life like the emperor of your own peace. Speak less, act wisely, and live in accordance with what is right, not what is popular. Remember that silence can be louder than argument, that calm can be stronger than control, and that a single moment of self-awareness can rewrite the story of your entire life. Your worth does not need to be proven, it simply needs to be lived. Protect it as you would a sacred flame, because when you stand firm in who you are, no voice, no judgment, no failure can extinguish it. No one but you decides your worth. And once you understand that, you no longer seek approval, you become the proof.